All right, thank you all for your patience while we let a few more people join. I've already introduced myself while we were waiting, but I'll go ahead and quickly just say my name is Patty and I work for the NSLC. I am the Director of Scholarships and Partnerships. I am the Director of our sites at IMG Boarding School in Florida as well as Oxford, and I'm the Assistant Director of International Admission. So I work with all of our students and educators from India. In addition to working for the NSLC, I am also an alum of the program. So 23 years ago, when I was in high school, I did one of our programs and it completely changed my trajectory. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I can honestly say that doing a program like this, especially the NSLC, was really impactful for me while I was in high school. Here's an overview of what we're going to do for the next 20 minutes or so. We're going to talk about what is the NSLC. We're going to talk about our different locations and programs. We'll talk about how you enroll and then some of the things you'll get as you prepare for the summer and after the summer as well. So the National Student Leadership Conference, we run academic leadership programs for high school students during the summer. We also have middle school programs, and I'll talk about those a little bit later. I think the majority of people joining are for high school, but we'll make sure to touch on both. We have been around since 1989, and we offer 9 and 12-day programs for students across the US and in the UK to come and pick one of 30 different subjects to study and really see what it is they're interested in. So we've been around for quite a long time. I mentioned I did this 23 years ago, and it's a really great opportunity to explore what you might be interested in. We like to look at why students would attend the NSLC in kind of 3 or 4 main ways. The first is to explore that potential academic career area, and that ties into that last bullet you see there. It also ties into the guest speakers and trips. So I mentioned I did this program. I grew up in San Diego, and I was sure I was going to be a marine biologist. I think every kid that grows up in San Diego thinks they'll be a marine biologist at some point or another, and I was no different. I got the invitation to attend the NSLC, and we didn't have that program at the time, but I saw our program on international diplomacy. And I knew that it was something that I was interested in. I loved news, I loved travel, I loved learning about politics. And even though I'd never done anything in that field, I thought, why not give it a try? So I flew out to DC, and this is a time before cell phones and social media, and did our program on international diplomacy. It completely changed my trajectory. It completely changed what I wanted to do through doing the hands-on simulations, the Model Security Council, the government development simulation, the nonprofit simulation, as well as meeting and hearing from different guest speakers and trips and tours. So that hands-on career exploration is one of the main reasons students attend our programs. The second is to experience life on a college campus. So you have that pre-college experience. All of our programs are required residential. And what that means is you stay in the dorms with us while you're on campus. So you'll have a roommate, you'll eat in the cafeteria, you will get to experience campus life in a bite-sized experience of 9 or 12 days before you really tackle what it's like as a freshman. Even if you don't end up at the university where you stay, it's a really great way to see what you like and don't like about campuses and get that experience before your freshman year and make it a little less daunting. The next, we are the National Student Leadership Conference, and that means that all of our programs, whether you do marine biology or international diplomacy, have that leadership component. So you'll work with a leadership facilitator throughout your 9 or 12 days with us to develop yourself as a leader. You'll do skills that will help you in the field you're choosing, so international diplomacy, but there are also skills that are transferable into any field you go into. Because when you do a program like this, one of the main benefits is to, of course, find out what you like, but it's also equally as good to find out what you don't like. And those leadership skills can transfer with you into any field. So let's say after doing the program on international diplomacy, I was just sure I needed to stay and do marine biology. That's a great outcome, and those skills could have gone with me into any field I went into. And this last bullet here talks about the trips and tours, which I already touched on. It's part of that academic career exploration, meeting and hearing from different people in the field who are doing different things, getting to hear the internships they took, the classes they took, how they got to where they are, and really see the different avenues available to you, because there's so many paths to you in each field. And so that's one of the best parts of this program. I'm going to go ahead and show a video now of alumni a little bit younger than myself talking about their experience.
The NSLC organization.
that video is you really do get to see so many of our programs. So here is a slide showing all of our locations for our high school programs for 2026. So you can see that we're pretty spread out across the US, and then we're also at the University of Oxford in the UK. And something to point out on this slide is that not every program is offered at every location. It's based on academics and access to field trips. So for instance, a lot of the political programs, you're going to find them in London, in DC, in New York, whereas our marine biology program, you'll find at Berkeley. So when you're on our website, you can take a look and you can sort by location. So let's say you definitely want to spend your summer at Oxford. That's great. I will see you there. You can sort by Oxford and see what's offered. Or if you know you want to do engineering, you can sort through our programs and look at all the campuses where the program is offered. At all of our locations, you're staying on campus for that pre-college experience, and then you're also getting to do a little fun sightseeing while you're there. So all of our programs, we're going to talk about the academics and talk about the leadership, but you're going to have traveled a far way. All of you are coming from India, so whether you go to the UK or the US, you will get to go to places like Times Square, Georgetown, Hyde Park, kind of explore Oxford, so you will get to do some fun sightseeing at any of these campuses. All right, we have a lot of programs and there's no way we can talk about all of them. So we've divided them up into different groups, and I'm going to highlight a few of them as we go, just so you can see our model. On our website, which you can see at the last slide, we'll have a QR code that you can scan whether you're here in person or joining virtually, and you can see more about any program, including a sample schedule, and you can also see videos of students sharing their experience. But I will highlight a few so you can kind of see how they work. Medicine programs are some of our most popular, and you can see a lot of options here, but one of the most popular is just medicine and healthcare. And this is for students who want to be surgeons, who want to be doctors. So this program, instead of a professor, you will have a surgeon working with you as your professor, doing hands-on skills that you're going to get to work on with them after hearing lectures. So the surgeon will do suturing, dissections, soft casting, craniotomies on fetal pigs. You're going to actually get to do those hands-on skills with the surgeon, in addition to hearing from them about what they do, what their field is like, how they got to where they are. You're going to get to ask them questions so you can really see the different choices you have available to you if you pursue a career in medicine and healthcare. Another big component of this program is a visit to a hospital or medical school simulation lab. And so when you do that, you actually get to work with the staff, the surgeons, the residents, the students, and do the actual hands-on skills. So you're getting to meet a lot of people. You're getting to see all of the different places that they are, all the different plans they've taken to get to where they are. And then you're actually getting to do those hands-on skills to see if you actually like doing the work. Another component is hearing from guest speakers. So you do work with a surgeon, but you're going to get to meet and hear from people who work in different fields. So somebody from nursing, pharmacy, sports medicine, public health, just different options available to you. And again, you get to hear about their field, what's going on right now, what is that field like, but also how they got to where they are. And for all of our programs, all of our speakers, professors, surgeons, I really recommend taking advantage of that time with them and asking all of your questions. Meeting ambassadors and meeting foreign service officers when I was a student and getting to ask them about what they did was one of the most inspiring and impactful parts for me. Another part of this program is you'll do a research project with a group on campus. You're going to research a public health topic that interests you and actually put together a project and presentation. You will do your leadership sessions with your leadership facilitator. You'll go on other trips in addition to the hospital and medical school simulation lab. And then, like I mentioned, you'll get some of those fun sightseeing trips as well. And all of our programs have that pre-college experience because you're staying with us on campus. The next category is our engineering programs, also very popular, and I could easily talk about all of them because these are so fun and so hands-on, but the one I'm going to highlight on this page is our engineering program overall. So this program is meant to introduce students to engineering as a whole. So it's not one part of engineering, it's looking at the whole field. So you might know you're interested in engineering, but you don't know what yet, and this is the perfect program for you. You're going to have a professor or guest speaker series instead of one person coming in to work with you, and they're going to be from various areas of engineering, so chemical, mechanical, nuclear, aerospace, and that way you can hear from them about the field and what they do, and again, how they got to where they are. In addition to having that professor or guest speaker series, you're going to do hands-on simulations that tie into that field. So you're going to do some robotic simulations, building an underwater robot, building a drone, and then you'll do smaller simulations that help supplement as well, from coding to wind turbines and trebuchets and an aircraft carrier launch. All of this pairs with the guest speakers you'll meet in addition to the professors. They'll be professionals in the field who either work in engineering companies or who work as engineers in other companies. And it's really interesting to hear the things they do in their day-to-day because engineering can really take you so many places. You'll do trips and tours just like our medicine program. You will go to engineering labs, you'll go to different businesses that work in the field, you'll get those fun field trips as well, and of course the leadership and pre-college experience. Our next category, and this is the one that had the program that I did 23 years ago, and that is our government program. So you can see we have a lot of options here, but I'm going to highlight the program I did because it is, of course, my favorite on this slide. It's international diplomacy, and something unique about this program is that all of our other programs, you're going to pick one campus, and you're going to come and you're going to stay for 9 or 12 days on that one campus with us. International diplomacy is our only program where you go to 2 campuses while you're with us. So you'll start in Washington, D.C. at Georgetown, and then you'll travel as a group on day 6, and you will finish the program at Columbia University in New York, and that's so you can visit the United Nations. So for the trips for this program, you get to go to the State Department, to different embassies, and then you get to go to New York and go to the United Nations. Of course, you get to go to Times Square and see some fun things while you're there as well. It's really cool because you get that pre-college experience at 2 very different colleges in 2 very different cities, but both very well known for being in the field of international relations and international diplomacy. Now, you will have your lectures at Georgetown University, and you will also do simulations just like all of the other programs. You'll do a Security Council simulation, a government development simulation, and a nonprofit simulation. And all of that is to help you see everything available to you in this field. You'll go on trips, which I've already mentioned, in both cities. You'll have those leadership skills, and you'll do them in both campuses. And then you get that pre-college experience. And again, you're getting it at 2 campuses, and it really helps you see what you like and what you don't like. All right, our business programs, another very popular category, and you can see we have a lot of options there. A lot of these take place at many campuses, and also some are specifically in New York and LA, but again, you can see that online. But the one I'm going to highlight is our business and entrepreneurship, which is kind of the most general, the most broad introductory into this field. It really looks at the program kind of through both of those words. So you're going to do a business management simulation with a team, and you're going to manage a company through the day-to-day operations. So making decisions, developing teams, taking your company through the highs and lows. And then you're even going to have to answer for the decisions you made at a press conference. So you're going to have to answer in real time for the decisions you and your team made. The other part of that program is the entrepreneurship part. So you and your team will do a Shark Tank simulation where you develop a product and pitch it to a panel of judges. It's a lot of fun because you get to be a little bit more creative, but you also have to think about everything from the design creation to the hole in the market that your product will fill to finance and marketing. And when you're pitching it, again, you're going to have to answer for the decisions you made in real time to that panel of judges. You're going to have a professor come in and do college level business lectures. You're going to meet and hear from other guest speakers in the field. And something really cool about business and entrepreneurship is those guest speakers can be from so many different companies. This is a great program if you're undecided because business and entrepreneurship really is so vast and cross-cuts into so many fields. So those guest speakers are going to be really, really interesting for you to kind of figure out the different things available to you. And then you'll have the leadership, the sightseeing, and that pre-college experience as well. While we're on this page, I also like to highlight the Leadership and Service program. It is our only 6-day program, so that exists if you have a little bit less time in the summer and you're trying to fit it in. And it's also not academic based. It's meant to go deeper into leadership and have a community service aspect. So if you're needing or wanting community service, or if you're undecided and not really sure and want to commit to an academic field yet, this could be a great program for you. Our last category is art and design. So we have a lot of very fun programs here, a lot of very fun programs to watch. You saw a lot of them in the video. The one I'm going to highlight is our journalism and broadcasting. This one takes place only at Columbia in New York, and that's just due to the access to trips and tours and speakers. But you'll have lectures, and you're going to pick a track within this program. So you're going to pick something that interests you, from investigative writing to photography journalism to sports journalism. And you're going to do a main project throughout that 9 days that is something that interests you. You'll be exposed to the other topics through smaller simulations, your professors and guest speakers, but you're going to get to work on one main project of the track of your choice. You're going to have guest speakers from the New York Times, people who do print journalism, podcasts, sports journalism. The director of the program works for NFL Films, so you really get exposed to different things within this field. And then you also are going to have the fun sightseeing in New York, and again, those leadership and pre-college experience. We have so far just talked about our high school programs, but since I'm here and I know a lot of you are student athletes, I do want to highlight one of our middle school campuses as well. And I'll talk a little bit about the others. We do have middle school programs at Berkeley and American University. They're 6 days long for grades 6 through 8, and those are solely academic based. But this year we have a new partnership with IMG Sports Boarding School, the boarding academy just outside of Tampa in Florida, where we will be doing 7-day programs where students choose one of these sports that they will play in the morning with the IMG coaches and the IMG students. So you'll be with more than just NSLC students. And then you pick one of 3 tracks of academics for the afternoon. So you'll choose medicine, engineering, or business. And it doesn't matter what sport you choose or what academic path you choose. You can make any combination you want. And you'll be doing our standard curriculum with the leadership development. The only difference is we won't be doing any field trips here because we're giving all of that time to the sports in the morning. In addition to the sports, you'll be doing 2 sessions with their team on performance and agility, so strength training and agility with them, and then everything else is kind of standard NSLC. The middle school programs, you can see more online. This is actually such a new partnership that the website for this launches next week, but I'll be sure to email it to the team here to send out when it does. I will be the person there with the programs, but it's 7 days. You get to work with those coaches, be at those facilities, and also still get that academic experience. We're really excited about it, and I used to work in the field of sports before this, so really looking forward to combining the 2 interests here, and hopefully we will see some of you there this summer. And again, that is for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We don't have that same opportunity for high schoolers yet, hopefully one day, but for now our high school is just the academic leadership, and middle school we do have this sports opportunity. So we've talked a lot about our programs, and now we'll talk about who can attend. I think everybody here fits that bill. You're attending a virtual session at the end of a school day to learn more about your summer, which means you probably have that demonstrated leadership potential. But what we're looking for is students with a B average equivalent or higher, so that's a 3.0 GPA or higher. We do have a GPA calculator on our enrollment page, so you can take a look at that if you need it, a converter if you will. And then you can be nominated by an educator, so if somebody you know, a counselor or teacher wants to nominate you, they definitely can. You would get a letter of nomination. You can be invited as well, and those are a little bit less likely when you're an international student because they're through in-school surveys and standardized tests that are generally proctored online or in the States. And then you can also just find us on your own. So if you saw this through social media, through an email, you can enroll directly online. You'll report your grades and then list a teacher or counselor, and we'll send them a short form to fill out and verify your grades. At the end of the day, it all looks the same to us because everybody's meeting that same criteria. And of course, everything is done online. So here's our tuition for 2026. This is all in US dollars, and you can see for 6, 9, and 12-day programs, the majority of our programs are those 9 days. So that's $4,095 to $4,395. And that includes pretty much everything while you're with us. So housing, meals, course materials, lab fees. When you're looking at the 6-day programs for middle school, that would include your sports fees, kind of all of that. And when it says payment plans available, what that means is that you pay a deposit when you enroll, and then you make monthly payments between now and your program. And so the sooner you enroll, obviously the smaller those payments will be as you have more months between now and summer. The big external cost, of course, coming from India would be your airfare, because you do have to book your own travel. We'll provide guidelines for that travel, but that is something you book on your own. We do offer a shuttle service to all of the airports in the area, and you can sign up for that online as well. And then, of course, we recommend some spending money. There's also an additional trip insurance, and you can see more about that when you enroll. It's something you don't have to add at the time, but it's something you can add if you would like. Talking about the tuition ties perfectly into talking about scholarships. I mentioned at the beginning that I'm the Director of Scholarships and Partnerships, and every year we give out money to help students attend our programs. Our scholarships are based on financial need, and it's always great when international students apply. I always recommend taking a look at this because between the exchange rate, visas, flights, obviously the costs can grow. So definitely worth taking a look at if you're interested in coming. The scholarships are based on financial need. You do need to enroll in a program to apply for a scholarship. But as long as you complete the scholarship application on time, it's due March 11th, you can have a full refund of any amounts paid as long as you completed it on time. So you do pay that deposit, but that becomes fully refundable when you become a scholarship applicant. The scholarships are partial. We do have a guide to fundraising online as well. Last year, 100% of students that applied got some amount of money, and they averaged right around $1,000, but they can be more. So that was about 25% of the average tuition. And again, everything is done online. And if you have any questions, I believe I will send out my email and you can scan for more information. But like I said, I'm the director of scholarships and I'd be happy to answer any of them. Just a few more slides left. Thank you all for staying with me this long. So once you register, you're going to get access to a student account or an online profile. And this gives you so much information because everything's a little different depending on the campus and the program you pick. So we wait for you to enroll to give you all the specifics you need. The first thing you're going to get, packing information. So what are the different types of attire you need, from casual to professional? Lab attire. If you do marine biology, it'll look very different than if you do law and advocacy. So you're going to get a very specific packing checklist. You're also going to get some tips on there about what the dorm has, what you should bring, spending money that's specific to your program in the city you're in. Then you're going to get travel guidelines. So that's the airport arrival departure information. And also, let's say you're visiting family this summer near one of the campuses and they're going to drop you off and pick you up. You don't need to be picked up at the airport. It will also give you information for drop off and pick up like that. You're going to have required forms, so different waivers, different things for field trips, the university, for us, of course. You're going to fill out a profile where we get your medical, allergy, dietary information. The great thing about these campuses, from IMG to Berkeley to Oxford, is they're set up to handle any and all dietary needs. They handle a much bigger student body than we bring. So truly anything you need, as long as you put it on that form, we'll be able to accommodate. And the last thing is that you're going to get important details about your campus. So where's laundry? How much does it cost? What is the dorm layout like? Is there air conditioning? A lot of very important things that does vary by dorm to dorm and campus to campus. The last slide here is, what do you get from doing the program? As an alum, I can say that the biggest thing you get is the experience. You get to explore a career field, really figure out what you like, what you don't like, meet and network with people, both your peers and the professors and guest speakers who come in. So it's really the experience itself. But of course, you do a lot while you're with us. You work hard. Our days are from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. So you do complete a lot of different things. You'll also get a letter of recommendation, a transcript of your hours. The program is not for a grade, but we do break down all of the work that you did. And you'll also get a certificate of completion. You'll physically get those things on the last day of the program, but then you'll also be able to access them. Your student profile becomes an alumni profile once you're done with the program, once you graduate, and you can request those for the Common App for universities all over the world. Of course, we'll submit them on your behalf, so you'll always have access to those. And that is everything. You can scan this QR code on this page if you need any more information. You can also see my email there if you'd like to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to hang out and answer any questions if there are any. But thank you all for joining, and I hope to see some of you at NSLC this summer. Are there any questions?
Yeah, there are 2 questions.
Yeah, we have questions. So we have one question. What is the age group for the IMG middle school program?
Yeah, so it is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, which is usually 11 to 13 or 14.
Okay. And what about the research paper? Is the student guided to publish the research paper, or it's just writing down?
We don't have a research paper with us. If they do the optional college credit, which is something students can do through American University, no matter the campus they do, they will have a professor who helps them, and you can see more about that on our website there. But for our programs, they'll do smaller research projects while they're with us, and they'll have staff and professor support of those, of course. But it's a smaller project that they'll start with us and they'll finish with us. And it's not something they'll have to work on in their dorms at night or anything. They'll have the time during the day to get that done, and there'll be staff there to support them the whole time.
Are there any other questions? If people would have, please put it in the chat box.
Hi, Patty. This is Sanjay here.
Hello.
And yeah, this is really helpful. Thank you for going through in details. So this is really helpful. Quick question. When I see the programs that you mentioned, their business and engineering and all that, there was sports management, which sort of clubbed under business programs. If somebody's wanting to explore sports technology, where would that fit under? Is it going to be under engineering, or how do we understand that?
Yeah, so I think it would depend on what you wanted to do within sports technology. So sports management is really looking at if you wanted to be a sports attorney, a sports agent, maybe manage a stadium. So kind of the business side of the sports field. So looking at like the Olympics, the World Cup. If you are looking to do, I think it would depend on what you're looking to do within sports technology. But if you want to email me, I'd be happy to connect with your student, send sample schedules of both programs. You can kind of compare and see if one of them is more interesting. And I can also connect you with alumni, probably from India, who have done both programs, and I'd be more than happy to do that. Based on what you're saying, I'm thinking engineering might be the better fit, but I'd be happy to connect with you directly just to see.
All right. Thank you, Patty. We'll do that.
Yeah, thank you.